All right, here with expert analysis is the forming acting director of national intelligence and former U.S. ambassador to Germany, Ric Grenell. Ric, good evening. Always great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Bianca.
You know, Trump really hit the nail on the head there, talking about this being harassment and what's up with the documents that Biden had. But really, I think, you know, when you charge the head of maintenance, doesn't this really tell you how vindictive that Jack Smith is? This has nothing to do with adding on to more charges at Trump. So they either want him to turn or basically go bankrupt fighting the government.
Yeah, look, let's be very clear. If they had a case, they wouldn't be going after staff. What they're trying to do right now is scare individuals into, doing something or saying something that would be contrary to the truth just to save them. What this shows is a very vindictive, nasty DOJ. Everybody in this country knows, if you live outside of Washington, D.C., that Washington, D.C. is a mess. It's a mess of corruption. The only people that don't know that are the ones who have all of the power in Washington, D.C., the politicians, the media, the bureaucrats who live and work there. We see this growing problem in Washington of really being hostile towards outsiders. They want people to come to Washington, especially the president, who's going to play by their rules.
Yeah, and it looks like obviously every time he's attacked, he gets stronger. It's really interesting. Again, it goes back to how Jack Smith is pulling this Espionage Act charge. As you just heard Trump say, this really is about a Presidential Records Act, which would be civil, Ric. We know this.
Yeah, look, they can't use the Presidential Records Act because the President of the United States, I can attest as the acting director of national intelligence, has full authority, full and complete authority to declassify any information that he wants, and he doesn't even have to tell anyone. This whole idea in Washington, they're like, well, he didn't tell anybody or there wasn't a process. That is ridiculous. Those are the Washington, D.C. rules where they want more power. But what Jack Smith cannot run from, and the problem that he has, is he has a long history of overreaching when it comes to legal cases. You just look at all of the other cases that he's put forward. I know about the case that he has against the president of Kosovo. It was a big stretch. People within Eastern Europe, at The Hague, here in the Balkans where I am, they're all mocking Jack Smith for his overreach in that particular case. And then they see him going after President Trump and they say, this is more of the same. This will not end well for Jack Smith.
Well, and, of course, too, as we watch this unfold, the legal cases will take years, but we really know we're in the middle of an election season. And really, that's what it could be about here, is about tainting the electorate and trumping up some charges here. But, Trump really fought back this week with the latest filing. He released a brand new ad. We want to play a part of it now.
What do you call someone this weak? Someone caught in a bribery scandal that made them millions, complicit in a government cover-up, and uses your government to get special deals for his family? You call them Joe Biden. And acting just like a corrupt third-world dictator, Biden has unleashed a cadre of unscrupulous government bureaucrats he controls to act like rabid wolves and attack his greatest threat, launching one of the greatest witch hunts in history.
Well, obviously, Trump supporters, and we'll see many of them tonight, in Erie, as we also saw them in Iowa last night, support this. But as we move forward, assuming Trump wins the primary, Ric, do you think the series of indictments will help him court those independent voters as well as we look forward and possibly also to the disparate legal system when we're looking at President Biden, who could be a corrupt sitting president with allegations of influence peddling with his family?
Well, look, I think the reality is, you touched on it earlier, is that with every indictment, President Trump's numbers go up. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? And I think it's pretty clear. People are really tired of the weaponization of government. And what that really means is a government that can come at you and they break the rules. They live by whatever rules that they want to live by, but they require you to live by a different set of rules. We all know that. We see it happening around our country. And I'll finish with this, Bianca. Look no further. If you're watching us tonight, this afternoon. I challenge you, find a first or second generation American, someone who came here legally, who wanted to come here and worked really hard to get here. They will tell you that this America that they're witnessing is like their home country, where totalitarianism and fascism and the control of the media and big, powerful people going after their political enemies and trying to put them in jail. This is what happens in a third world country. Our people in America need to wake up. They need to see what's happening in Washington, D.C. and recognize this is corruption, and there is only one way to stop it, and that is to send the guy who is a total outsider, who they hate, they do not want in. Send Donald Trump, the bull in the china shop, to Washington, D.C. to clean it up and save our country.
You know, Ambassador Grenell, the message obviously has to be filtered through some legacy media for the Americans to also see what is really happening. While many people have woken up, they continue to spin these stories about Hunter being a private citizen. And look at this, really, I thought this was a pathetic spread that broke yesterday in People magazine. Obviously, he wouldn't do a television interview where the president acknowledged now Navy and that they're working to foster a relationship. I mean, let's be clear. There's no best interest. They didn't put aside the millions of dollars to have an education fund for her. Hunter went to court to try to reduce payments to her. This family doesn't even want her to use the Biden name. Hunter's a recovering crack addict here, but they want to make this as some, poor drug addict who's trying to get his life back on track. And the media just spins it like that.
Look, I'm thankful that we have so many alternative media types. One of the reasons why they kicked Donald Trump off of Twitter, one of the reasons they kicked him off Twitter was because he was really effective at trying to push forward his own media agenda around the legacy media, as you call it. I don't think there's much we can do about the legacy media, People magazine, Washington Post, the New York Times, but more and more regular Americans, people outside of Washington, D.C. are paying very little attention to those outlets. Thank God we've got some alternatives like Newsmax, but we will have to work even harder to make sure that the message gets out. But I'm really confident that the media landscape has changed enough that we can do that.
As am I. We have some very smart viewers here at Newsmax, and they want to, of course, save this nation and the great Constitution and have someone who upholds it in leadership. Ambassador Ric Grenell, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on The Count.
All the best.